Hey there, everybody. Well, pardon the rather odd looking angle. Just a quick medical update. I'm feeling fine for the most part. I mean, I'm still coughing a little bit. My voice is still a bit sore, but generally speaking, I feel okay. Like, I don't feel as sick anymore as I was a few days ago or yesterday. And when it comes to the hearing loss in my left ear, apparently that has to do with the fact that I have a small bubble of moisture apparently behind my eardrum in my left ear. But I do already have medication to actually get rid of that. So, yeah. But in the meantime, somebody actually asked me for a look at my new display cabinet for the model locomotives. So, you know what? That seems like a decent little video to do right now. So, you know what? Let's do that. Excuse me. Now, as you may have noticed, it's mostly German steam locomotives. It's all HO scale. Well, obviously the Silver A4 there is in 00 scale, apparently. Same track gauge, just a slightly oversized body shell, apparently. But anyway, yeah. We'll start at the bottom shelf, we'll work each shelf from left to right. So, yeah. First up, the 45001. There you go. There's a decent shot of the number. Yeah. So, as you can see, the Baureihe 45. Big, 3-cylindered 210-2 Santa Fe type. Big tender. These were basically like some of the biggest steam locomotives that the DRG had made as part of their Einheits program. Yet this one is already labeled for the post-war days with the Deutsche Bundesbahn, which was just the nationalized railroad for West Germany, whereas East Germany still had the Deutsche Reichsbahn. There's also a little bit of interesting signage here. G5720. Let me just see if I can hold my camera steady. That's good enough. G5720. I forgot what the triangle and that little stripe meant, but most of that signage I can't explain. G means that the locomotive is predominantly built for hauling goods trains, or freight trains. So yeah, it's predominantly a freight locomotive. That bigger number 57, that was almost as big as the G, meant that 5 out of the 7 axles on the locomotive itself are driven. And then 20 meant that the axle loading on the locomotive was 20 metric tons. So yeah, there you have that. Next up, we have something that is classified as an 012, but it's actually the Baureihe 0110. So the normal German number of this locomotive is supposed to be 011081. I do apologize for my for being a little bit shaky. Yeah, we got a big Pacific. So just to clarify, this is not a normal 01. This is an 0110. I always have to point that out. The 0110 is a 3-cylindered development of the 01 that was initially streamlined. But yeah, the reason for this odd number is because the DB, the Deutsche Bundesbahn, adopted a computer numbering system in 1968 where, the classification number would have 3 digits, the individual road number of the locomotive, shall we say, would have 3 digits, and then it's followed with a dash or a hyphen or something, I think. Yeah, a hyphen, and then a random control number at the end. So yeah. For the Baureihe 0110, they were reclassified as an 011 if the engine was coal-fired, or an 012 if the engine was oil-fired, like this one. Then behind that we got this big yellow thing. This is of course my only diesel locomotive that I have. It's an EMD DD35A, a class of diesel locomotives that was exclusively made for the Union Pacific Railroad. We got number 70, dependable transportation. Ironically, not necessarily the case with the DD35As when they were originally built and delivered, because they were actually a bit problematic. A little bit unfortunate that none of these were preserved. The only double diesels from the Union Pacific that were preserved in any quantity were the Centennials. Anyway, now we got a 41 and another 41. Yes, that's the number of the Bauer I-41 locomotive that I actually live quite close to. In fact, I may be considering renumbering this one. Yeah, the 41018, it is an engine that's preserved, but this one actually has removable number plates. Yeah, 282 Mikado, same driving wheel diameter as the 45s in real life, by the way. Then over here we got a different 41. This is, okay, behind the normal road number, the normal road number is 01147. So in case you're wondering why on earth these two look so different, well, the Bauer I-41 received two different modernizations after the war. This is what they wound up looking like. Yeah, this is the modernized look from the Deutsche Bundesbahn. The other one here is the modernized look on the Deutsche Reichsbahn. So, West German modification, East German modification, or reconstruction. It's actually quite interesting to note that there are plenty of 41s in preservation, but all of them are either West German rebuilds or East German reconstructions. So the original Einheits version of the Bauer I-41 wound up going completely extinct. So yeah, same class, just completely different treatment on rebuilding. Then we also have ourselves a 44. This is the 441315, which is an engine that's also preserved. 210 decapod. Also removable number plates like on the 41018. But yeah. Looking nice and chunky. By the way, yes, in case you're wondering, that drum piece there, that's a preheater. It's sunken into the boiler barrel. How lovely is that? And yeah, you can tell it's a 3-cylinder locomotive because you look at the positioning of the cranks on the second pair of driving wheels. They are off compared to the other driving wheels. It's lovely. And then a random German switching engine behind that. I think this is something... Excuse me. I think this is something that my grandfather from my father's side bought for his kids. Because obviously I got all these engines inherited from my grandfather from my father's side when he sadly passed away in 2017, and I picked up most of this stuff from my uncle's house in 2018. Actually, all this stuff. In fact, there's more. But I may have to do a little bit of block recording, so I've got to split it up in a few different segments. Anyway, here we have the only 00 gauge locomotive. It's a London and Northeastern A4 Pacific. Specifically, it's Silver Fox, number 2512. One of only 4 locomotives to rock this really cool two-tone gray livery with that lighter shade of gray painted on most of the engine, obviously supposed to look like silver. And it's a very nice looking livery. Behind that we have the German record breaker, the 05002, in its non-streamlined appearance, courtesy of the Deutsche Bundesbahn. Which, yes, this is my preferred look for the 05s. Big ass driving wheels. Again, in real life, 2300 millimeters. That's 90.6 inches on a standard gauge locomotive. Fucking enormous, I know. Hold up, I want to get a better look at this. At the signage here. Yes, Deutsche Bundesbahn 05002. It's odd that there's no space there. A little bit weird. S37. But I can't quite make out the number for the axle loading, which is a little weird. If it says 18, I'm gonna be... yeah, hold on. I'm actually a bit curious. Update. The axle loading is 18 metric tons. Or rather 18.4 metric tons according to steamlocomotive.com for the Bauerei 05, specifically in this rebuilt condition. How does that look like it has an axle loading of 18 metric tons? I don't understand it either. A little bit of black paint is chipped off on the tender. Shame. Ooh, here we have a communist boy, sort of. Yeah, this is perhaps the most, this is perhaps the least German-looking steam locomotive you've ever seen. This is the Baureihe 015. Like, it's, what they've done here is they've taken a normal 01 and they've reconstructed it. So yeah, this is from the Deutsche Reichsbahn, again, from East Germany. Clearly make that out. S3620. Deutsche Reichsbahn. Yeah. This engine looks sick. Like the rocket nose for the smoke box door, the streamlined shrouding. Yeah, the shrouding, the big deflectors, the skyline casing, the side skirting, the box pock driving wheels. The engine itself doesn't look very German anymore, now does it? It's kind of insane, and I love it. 5 of them have been preserved, but this one hasn't been preserved. Though then again, its tender has actually been preserved, because there's another West German 41 in the Netherlands, not the 41105, but the 41241, which was preserved as an oil burner, but is now reverted into a coal burner for more regular use at the VSM Tourist Railroad between the towns of Apeldoorn and Dieren. And they made it a coal burner because they were able to find the tender of the 01512 and basically have that tender ready to go. Because after all, the 01s, the 41s, the 44s, they basically used the same model of tender. T34. That's the beauty of standardization. Moving up, we have the Challenger and the big boy. I wish it was $39.85, but I had to settle with $39.77. But if you can just about make it out, yes, that's actually a sticker I put there on the number plate myself. It was quite crappily cut, I will admit, but I'm happy. The number boards have also been painted black because the entire front end was just painted silver. So at least wanted the number boards to stand out. But if I could, I would remove those, I would print better stickers, remove those smoke deflectors, and renumber this into $39.85. Obviously. Especially considering, you know, we got its big brother here. Yes, we also have ourselves a big boy. This one was entirely restickered, shall we say, when it comes to the numbers. Hold on, Let's see if I can actually get a better look at the... Ah, no. Wait. Excuse me, my arm is getting a bit tired. But yeah, I obviously did this big boy up as the 4014. There you can see it on the front number plate, just about. Yeah, 4014. Like, the number plate was actually sculpted to have 4005 on it. But then the cab sights on this particular big boy were painted with 4013, and the tender had no number whatsoever. So I changed all that up to just 4014 all across. Yes, I even added a 4014 to the back of the tender, even though it looks oversized. But still. Yes, I did a tender swap, obviously, because, you know, oil bunker, like on the real 4014 these days. Hi. Finally, we get the top shelf. We have ourselves a Kriegslok, a Baureihe 52. Once again, no headlight on the top, but again, that's optional. In fact, that's also the case with the 05. Oh, sus, lol. But yeah, we got ourselves the 52 1911, which looks a little bit unique because it has a giant 10-wheeled condensing tender. So the idea here is that there are a bunch of fans here on the top, which I think maybe I'm not entirely correct on how it works, but the basic concept is that as the locomotive is, you know, moving and the steam is being exhausted through the stack, like maybe it's being sucked up by those fans or another component in the tender, but the idea is the same. You know, the exhausted steam from the locomotive is recaptured by the condensing gear in the tender to be further cooled down and turned into water, so you get greater mileage out of the locomotive, or, you know, more range. Then here we have Baureihe 65, 65018, only survivor of this class and the last one built. Yes, a class that only contained 18 engines, and this is the only one that's actually left. It's amazing. Yeah, I got ourselves a little 284 Berkshire tank. Well, it's not that little, I suppose, but it's kind of cool. It's kind of unique. It's a very loved and cherished locomotive in the Netherlands. And we got ourselves the German big boy, quote-unquote, the mythical Baureihe 53, the supposed Super Kriegslok, which was never built. Again, 10-wheeled tender, but this is a more normal-looking tender. That's just an elongated version of the standard bathtub tender that you would normally get with a 52. Yeah, excuse me, my arm is getting a bit tired. We'll get onto the last engine in a little bit. Don't you worry. It's kind of funny because in real life, the Baureihe 53 was actually just a big hodgepodge classification for various different classes of 060 tender engines that the DRG had actually inherited. And very few of those 53s have actually been preserved. So yeah, I guess it was to the point that, you know, by the 40s, they were kind of looking to introduce a brand new Baureihe 53 as an upgraded 52. Yeah, finally, we have this beautiful little boy. He's blessed. The 98 3.7, the 98 307. The Baureihe 98.3, originally known as the Bavarian GTL, PTL 2-2. Like passenger tank engine light with only 2 axles. I love this little thing. In case you couldn't tell, this is the class of German steam locomotives that was given the nickname Glaskasten, translated into English as glass boxes, because, well, the boiler is mostly concealed by a massive cab with a huge amount of glass windows in it. So yeah, that's one of them, that nickname. And in real life, these were essentially one-man locomotives. They were built for one-man operation, which is kind of cute. Definitely built for very light rural branch lines. Love these things. Yeah. In fact, I got another engine, which I wish I had space for, but ultimately I didn't. Give me a minute. Here we go. Like, this is the first Bowwood in 98, effectively. The Saxon class ITVs, if I got that correct. As you can see, they are 0440 articulated tank engines, and they are Meyer articulated, and which is a type of articulated steam engine where the front of the cylinders are facing towards each other. Pretty cool. It's quite a unique little engine. And again, if I still had space somewhere, I would definitely pop it on the shelf. But as is, I don't have any space for it right now. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the little tour of the model locomotive display case. Compared to my original case, there were 4 other locomotives that ultimately couldn't fit. At the 18201, complete with another tender, which that's actually inherited by my older brother, but it was basically just a long-term storage on my end. But now we're finally building a small model display case just for that engine. Then there were a couple of German streamliners. Yet the 05001, sadly with the Nazi swastika on it, for the promotion of the 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin, which I don't like very much compared to the non-streamlined 05002, even if the 05001 has this one little advantage of being preserved in the real world, whereas the 05002 was not. But, you know, I don't like seeing the Nazi swastika on a German streamlined engine. Then again, I'm not that big on German streamlining, period. Like, at least if we're talking about completely streamlined locomotives, semi-streamlined stuff like that 015, that I will happily, that I'm actually quite happy with. But completely streamlined, no. Speaking of, I also had a fully streamlined Pacific, that being the 03 1074. Also unable to find space for it now. And I had another big American articulated locomotive, a Southern Pacific cab forward, number 4274, which is actually quite memorable in folklore because, you know, it pulled the final steam-powered passenger train on the Southern Pacific Railroad for a special fan trip over Donner Pass and the Sierra Nevada mountains between Sacramento, California and Reno, Nevada, if I remember correctly. It was the last cab forward to also ever run. Pity that I couldn't find any space for it in my on my shelves right now. But anyway, I'm gonna go drink some more tea. Probably gonna eat something for lunch, and yeah. I'll talk to you guys some other time. Take care. And just please be aware, just please take comfort in the fact that, yes, I do feel a bit better now. Still not great, but I'm getting there.